I grew up in the 1960s, watching their TV commercials with their stuffing kids in Africa, who stare vacantly as the camera witnesses Arizon's distant beliefs. In the sixth grade, my class teacher, Mr. Collins, had exchanged words in the song with or singing 3 billion people in the world, 2, 4 billion people in the world. And I was shocked. I couldn't believe that populations were so big. As were immense more shocked, but because anyone in class seemed to be disturbed by this spark. A couple of days later, I told my friend, because there seemed to be too many people in the world for it to handle, as wasn't going to happen in this case. She looked at me and she replied that she was going to have 3. I felt pretty alone in my beliefs. 37 years old, I still feel really alone. I'm still shocked that not more people are disturbed by population growth. And I think it's because as species, we decided not to talk about it. This kind of stuck its way, so I'm here to untalk it. Modern man first showed up on Earth 2000, and by the 1850s we had reduced so successfully there were once billions people on the planet. This means it took 2,000 years for us to put first billions people on Earth. The next billions came in 100 years. 200,000 years to get the first billion, 100 years to get the second billion. Now, we add 1 billion people to the planet every 12 years. In 2011, the world's population reached 7 billion people. Now, this surge in growth came about because improvements in agriculture, as medicine, because as a species, we are a biological success story. Survival of the fittest, we have survived. With our story, these are success stories. We have to force, but not we have to stop. It would be our downfall. It's just to give you anxieties of how fast the population grows. How long does it take balance that to realize there's death is 2.5 weeks. Now the world's population is growing at just 1% a year, which makes but 1% several billion is actually a big number. It means that every day we add 220,000 people to the planet. Every day. This is unsustainable, which means that at some point is going to stop growing. Question is how? Will it start growing because of famine, disease, or wars over resources? Or will it stop growing because people choose to have smaller families? As by smaller families, I mean one-child families. This is where people started getting nervous talking about overpopulation and population issue because they're scared that it's going to take away the rights to have children, but they don't want to take people's rights away. I want to give people rights. For since people to have few children does not work. In fact, the fastest and most efficient way to stabilize the world's population is send girls to school and empower women, and just give everyone access to education on birth control, and those are good things. And as cultures, we need to emphasize the benefits of having a one-child family so people to have fewer kids, because for thousands of years, which basically includes cases with NF, the basic other children are all lonely children. People like myself, my parents, parents who have choices not to try free as myself. Several times, I have been accused of being selfish because of my decisions not to have children. As all this makes sense when it's important for us to. But now, for our survivors, we have to not was created, and we have to change and rewrite our biology and our culture to recognize the benefits as one joint families. Because right now, for example, when the country's population falls, there's all this economic doom and gloom because capitalism supports more and more consumers. So yeah, when population lowers, this economies will suffer. But it will suffer less if there's no more oil, food, and water. Because there's are transmitted people of land 40 years, which now you must be thinking, okay, this relations issues sound troublesome, but we should be having babies. We're smart and we are educated and with blisters tester we can afford kids and heck. Our offspring they must say the words even my moms of ancestors to be such a good parents as your kids. They are wonderful. They must be wonderful. But because North America used it was more important that we have smaller families. For example, someone in the United States on average uses gallons of water a day, compared to average persons from Africa who only use 5 gallons a day. It's not just poor countries either. We hear in the United States we use hard industries in some words for France, England, and Japan. There's a lot of countries that have higher grade than but we have to aspire to one trans families, especially those are living here. Maybe you think it's we're just worried unless the technologies we save. Resources, because of some new inventions or technologies, but in the end, if fit and has for 15 billion people, what would their lives be like? The population is going to have to stop. So what's not stops now is that situation that some invention technology will save us. That doesn't exist yet. So first everyone to have qualities of life. Number of humans on Earth needs to go down. And I believe that it needs to go down to billions people with such because there's over 7 billion people on the planet today. It's actually the worst population just 80 years ago. So let's change ideas of the ideal families look like. Once it's a beautiful number. Let's not be afraid to talk about because it's not about talking price of ways from people. It's about giving opportunity to women to the future generations. And lastly, let's be part of the solution and truth from now on. To bring for no more than we enjoy ourselves. Thank you.